Hello everybody, I am Aderemi Adedipupo Tony, and I'm your anchor for today's edition of Community Talks. Today we're going to be talking about ancient civilization, languages, communications, transactions, writings, and how it was being documented back in the days before this present day civilization we've got now. So we're looking at the roots of knowledge, the roots of communication, how it started, where it started from, and what the ancient scholars, who are few in numbers, understand about all of these forms of civilization. Today, I've got an intellectual, second to none, and one of few, who understand 5 dead languages and 5 current languages. He is a scholar, a descendant of the Mesopotamian Empire, and a very, very, very understandable personality who believes civilization started from Mesopotamia. He is here with me, and his name is Dr. Qusay al-Turki. Dr. Qusay, can you introduce yourself to the audience and give us a brief history about yourself, how you got into ancient civilization, and just unwrap that for us now?
Yeah. My name is Qusay Monsoor al-Turki. I was born in 1968 in Iraq, exactly in the west of Iraq, in the small town Heat, and I grew up there, and then I finished my study in archaeology, master degree and PhD in ancient civilization with cuneiform writing. And also I start teaching in university more than 25 years ago.
And what university did you practice ancient civilization, and what is the importance of ancient civilization to our generation?
Yeah, in bachelor in 1986, the first group for studied cuneiform writing in Baghdad University, College of Art, Archaeology department. We studied in cuneiform writing with the famous professors come from England, come from America, come from Paris. They finished PhD there and they came back to Iraq to study with them for 3 or 5 professors, and I'm happy with my colleague. We are only 12 students. We finished bachelor in cuneiform writing in 1988.
So, Dr. Qusay,
Yeah.
some scholars argue that civilization started with the African people. Scholars like Dr. Edward Robinson, scholars like Dr. Sheikh Anta Buba Diop, scholars like Dr. Henrik J. Clark. These people are called Afrocentrists by the mainstream media. But to me, I think these people are scholars of their history, just like you. You are a scholar who wrote his thesis based on the history of the Mesopotamian civilization. You are very vast in all these ancient languages. So, what if critics are out there and they say all what you're talking about is just a myth? How are you going to feel?
That's amazing information. Before I understand what happened in the last 10 years, because when I'm study bachelor and my master degree, I learn about where exactly the civilization beginning. In the east of Africa, yes, it's correct. I have many articles and I read many books about this idea. This is what we found in published books or articles. But now we need to understand that new evidence come from Arab Peninsula. They said that the people lived there before 800,000 years ago. So before these 10 years ago, they think that people come from East Africa and they cross Red Sea and then they go to live in Arab Peninsula, and then step by step all people live there, because the claim at this time it's very good to live in Arabian Peninsula. But now we have, as I said, we have many evidence come from excavator, from many professor and excavator, and from Germany, from France, from England, and also from the local excavation from Saudi Arabia. As I'm a member for some of those groups, we can say now the people is grow up there because we have evidence for that. Maybe after a few months, we will publish many information about this point.
Okay, so communication. Where did it start from? Did it start from between the creator and man, or between men and men? Men, women, women, men, or between God, man, God, woman? Where did it start from?
Yeah, before that I answer this question, I need to say that the civilization come from Oriental. I'm not only the one say that, because the famous professor said that, as well as Sumerian Text is American archaeological and civilization person. He said that, and he had a book published. They said the civilization come from Oriental. So about the conversation in the beginning, I think that the conversation between the men come from the woman and the man. So the woman in the beginning, everything in the world, because the first gods and the first Lord in the world is the woman, not men. Why this happened? Because the woman can give the birth, and then give, and then he is focused for everything better than the men. So we have evidence that the first statutes for the humanities, the people made from the North Mesopotamia, it means in Turkey now and in Kurdistan, Iraq now, we found maybe thousands of statues, small statues. They look like for the woman. They call it goddess, mother goddess. So these statues, it's made by the clay, or by the stone, or by brick. They show the woman is the big legs, the big pops. So this is why they said, because the woman can give the life if they have big things. So I can understand that why, because when the agriculture starts, not from the men, from the woman, because the women stay in the home and they look around the house and the cave in the beginning, and they saw that the many things around the house, they grow up natural, better than the men go to the bush and go to the deserts just to bring the food. And sometimes those men maybe have an accident from the animals and from the bad road, from jump from mountains or somewhere, and sometimes don't come back to the home. So the women look at the seeds and then bring the seeds and put it in the ground, smaller, and then she saw that the seeds come like a man sometimes lost life to give it. So this is why we believe the agriculture, for example, start by the woman. And after that, because the life is changed for everything, and the woman sometimes need to be raised, especially when you are pregnant, when she's pregnant. So the man go to work at the field of agriculture or somewhere, and then after the town will be bigger and the cities have many things, and the life need to make a trade. So the men need to travel to other cities, other countries. So everything is changed, and the man come at the top of the life.
So who was the first person to communicate? It was between to communicate with one another. Was it between God and man, or between man and woman?
Okay. The God in the heaven, the old civilization in Mesopotamia and other way, they believe the place of God in heaven.
Mm-hmm.
So they choose a very important man
Mm-hmm.
to make a conversation between the normal people and the God.
Okay.
This is why in Mesopotamia you can find the first buildings called Ziggurat.
Mm-hmm.
These buildings have 7 levels, and sometimes 3, sometimes 5. The first Ziggurat, like a tower,
Mm-hmm.
found in the South Mesopotamia, in Uruk
Mm-hmm.
town. This Ziggurat, the purpose of these buildings, they make a conversation between the people
Mm-hmm.
in the cities and the God in heaven.
Okay.
And the person who make this conversation between the people and the God live in these buildings, and he have a very fantastic life because he is the best person. And the God come from the heaven and then sit at the top of this ziggurat. He had a room, and then the man sit and to meet the gods and give him some information and ask a question, and the God answer the question. And then after that, this man, they call it in Sumerian language N. It means like a president, or
Okay.
like a religious head of religious.
Does he have anything to do with Enki?
Like, no, Enki is the God.
Okay.
So there is no one God in civilization. Everything in civilization have a God. You have God of moon, you have God of sun, you have God of the wind, you have a God of mountains, you have a God of the earth, you have a God of the water. So Enki, God of water and earth, and the moon is the Sin or Swin or Nannar. The God of sun is Shamash or Utu. So there are different names between the Sumerian language and the Akkadian language. So sometimes this very important person, who is the leader of the religions,
Okay.
meet many gods.
Okay.
And sometimes at the end of month, he need to meet a moon god, because the moon god told him where the next month start.
Who's the
by,
moon?
by the
Who's the
sign
moon
of
god?
moon.
Who's the moon god?
So moon god in Sumerian language Nannar.
Nah.
And
Okay.
Nannar is mean like a light.
Okay.
Yeah, Nanna, light. And by the way, Nanna, the name of Nanna in tradition, in our tradition in Arabic, it means like in a Kurdish language and Persian language, it's like a square, because the bread there is like a square.
Okay.
So same the shape of the moon in the middle of month.
Okay.
You know, it's like a shape. This in Sumerian language. And in Akkadian language, sin, S-I-N. So this is mean as the number 30, because the month is 30 days.
Okay, so you said the civilization, the first writing, the first form of communication was between the gods and men.
Yeah.
Then before the men, who are the priests, now had to disseminate the information, pass the information to the people.
Yeah.
That then brought about the cuneiform writing, the Sumerian text.
Yes.
So, can you tell us the history behind this Sumerian text, the cuneiform writing, how it started, where it started from, and what year, who were the kings during those years?
Yeah. The cuneiform writing start as a pictures. So the pictures of the sign of pictures, they start in South Mesopotamia, modern Iraq, in Uruk city, now in Al-Muthanna, call it in Sumawa. This city is the first city in the world. I mean, the first city, everything. We have buildings for prayer religious, we have a port, we have a street, we have a school, we have everything. So this is the first town in the world. In this cities, the temple of Inanna. So Inanna is in Sumerian, the god of love and war, and in Akkadian Ashtar. This temple, we found the first sign for cuneiform writing, pictograph, in the beginning.